Person at the jail, what is your name?
Scott Hermanson.
This is case number 254025FY, the people of the state of Michigan versus Scott Matthew Hermanson. Mr. Hermanson, you are here on a a bond violation. It is alleged that you were in violation of GPS restrictions with 4 unauthorized stops from September 19th through September 20th, including a Dollar General, Ellen's Corners, the Bourbon Depot, and Crystal Shores Casino. Mr. Hermanson, when we were last here at arraignment, you had indicated that you were going to hire an attorney. Have you done that yet?
I was supposed to meet with him yesterday, Your Honor.
Do you still wish to continue to hire an attorney, or do you want the court to appoint an attorney for you? You can always let that attorney go if you hire your own.
Well, I suppose we can keep my court-appointed attorney right now until I hire one.
All right. The court will then make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney. You do have the right to have a contested hearing in this regard, in which proof would be put on, and I would determine whether or not there is a violation of the GPS tether. Ms. O'Mara, had your office spoke with Mr. Hermanson about this issue?
Yes, we had. I was going to ask if we could do a contested hearing today.
I don't have time for one today.
And you're on vacation tomorrow, correct?
I'm at a conference tomorrow, so Tuesday would be the absolute earliest we could do one.
Sorry. Then I'd like to set it out for a contested hearing.
All right. We'll enter a not guilty plea on the defendant's behalf, and we'll set this matter for a contested hearing. We will get it on as early as we can. We can probably do it Tuesday morning.
At 10:30 with PCC.
So we'll do it during PCs at 10:30 on Tuesday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In between time, well, I guess Ms. O'Mara, any comment regarding bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I do believe that these violations that are alleged can be explained, and I would ask that bond be continued insofar as that he's intending to hire an attorney, he's taking this charge seriously. And I believe that the current alleged violations can be explained. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Carnes.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask the court to add a no alcohol provision with random testing, which the people did ask for at the original arraignment. I think the stopping by a liquor store shows that's an issue, and it's borne out with the victim's statements to police as well, that he had been drinking immediately before this episode. I would ask for a remand pending the hearing. Thank you.
The court is going to add a condition of bond that the defendant not consume any alcohol and be subject to random testing. I'm also going to include no drugs, including recreational marijuana, and random testing for that. I do want to say on the record that the court over the weekend received some threatening emails from persons related to this case, in which the court was informed that Mr. Hermanson had better not walk out of this courtroom without being in handcuffs. The court does not take that threat very lightly, and I know it was not set on Mr. Hermanson's behalf. It was sent on somebody else's behalf. The decision I make today has nothing to do with the threat that I received, or the fact of another threat that the community was watching what this court does. What I am faced is with someone who was put on a GPS tether and has allegedly violated that GPS tether requirement. So for the time being, the court is going to remand the defendant to the custody of the Wexford County Jail until such time as we have a hearing, and I will make a determination at that point as to what type of bond justice dictates. Next arraignment, jail. Person at the jail, what is your name?
Russell Dutton.
Mr. Dutton, looks like you met with somebody from Community Corrections today, or maybe yesterday. I think it was today. And you state that you don't have a phone number, mailing address, or email. Is that correct?
Yeah, currently, yeah. I'm homeless.
We have an address on West John Street. Do you receive mail at that address anymore?
Oh, no, sir.
All right. Did you have the opportunity to meet with somebody from the defender's office today?
Yes, I did. I can give you a mailing address as well if you need.
All right, what is that?
It's 1606 Ingomar, Ingomar, Belgrade, Montana, Belgrade, 59714.
What's the zip?
59714.
All right, in file number 254192, we're here for an arraignment on a one-count complaint of police officer resist, assault, and obstruct from September 25th, 2025 in Mesick here in Wexford County. That is a felony punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or a fine of $2,000, and consecutive sentencing may be imposed if it happened in a place of confinement. In that file, the prosecution has elected to charge you as a habitual offender third notice. That means that you have at least 2 prior either completed or attempted felonies in your past. That makes that 2-year felony a 4-year felony, and the $2,000 a $4,000 fine. In case number 254199FY, I have a complaint that alleges that on or about August 21st, 2025, in the village of Mesick in Wexford County, it is alleged in count number 1 that you possess the controlled substance methamphetamine. That is a felony punishable by up to 10 years and or a fine of $15,000. Additionally, the prosecution is elected to charge you as a second subsequent offender, which means that you have at least 1 prior drug conviction in your past. That makes that 10-year felony a 20-year felony, and the $15,000 fine a $30,000 fine. In count number 2, it is alleged you committed the offense of police officer fleeing third degree pursuant to the vehicle code. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or $1,000, and the Secretary of State shall impose a license sanction for 1 year. In count number 3, it is alleged that you possessed firearms or weapons by a prohibited person, being a felon. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or a $5,000 fine and mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device. In count number 4, it is alleged that you received and concealed a motor vehicle. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or $10,000, or 3 times the value of the property taken. In count number 5 is alleged that you assaulted, resisted, or obstruct a police officer. That is a 2-year felony and or a fine of $2,000, and consecutive sentencing may be imposed if it happened in a place of confinement. In count number 6, it's alleged that you operated the motor vehicle while your license was suspended, denied, or revoked. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and or a fine of $500. It is also alleged that in counts 1, 3, 4, and 5, that you are a third offender, a habitual third offender. That means that you have at least 2 prior completed or attempted felonies in your past. So in count number 1, which is the possession of methamphetamine, that makes that 10-year felony a 20-year felony, and the $15,000 a $30,000. In count number 3, which is the ammunition by a prohibited person, that makes that 5-year felony a 10-year felony, and the $5,000 a $10,000 fine. In count number 4, which is the receiving, concealing a motor vehicle, that makes that 5-year felony a 10-year felony, and the $10,000 fine a $20,000 fine. In count number 5, which is the assault, resist, and obstruct, that makes that 2-year felony a 4-year felony, and the $2,000 fine a $4,000 fine. In regards to count number 2, which is the police officer fleeing third degree, you are charged as a second offender, which makes that 5-year felony a 7.5-year felony, and the $1,000 a $7,500 fine. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties? I'm not asking if you agree with them, but do you understand that with the information the prosecutor has, that is what they've elected to charge you with?
I guess, I'm aware of the first one, but I don't know about all the rest.
All right.
I mean, I understand them though.
You what?
I understand them, I just.
Okay. All right. On felony complaints, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning that you consent to, and you have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney at all phases throughout this process, and if you could not afford one, one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney?
I need an attorney, I guess, yeah.
So do you want one appointed?
Yeah, yes, sir.
What is your current source of income?
I don't have a job.
All right, the court will make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney. Will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and will set the matter for those matters for preliminary examinations. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court within 21 days. At that hearing, the prosecution will be required to prove two things. One, probable cause that the crime had occurred, and two, probable cause that you were the person who had committed the offenses. If the prosecution is not able to do that, the case would be dismissed. But if they are able to do that, you'd be ordered to stand trial in circuit court. Prior to the preliminary examinations, there'll be a probable cause conference. That's where your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there's a way to resolve the case, short of going to trial. You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing at future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Historically, counsel, I show a use of narcotic from 23, a flee fourth, an attempt to resist and obstruct. That's from 25. The flee fourth is from 24. And then in 23, there was an operating without security. It appears he's on probation out of Oceana County and has some sort of violation there, and a fail to appear out of Muskegon, and has a warrant out of Montana. Any comment regarding bond, Ms. O'Mara? I should say the praxis scores him at a risk level 8.
Yes, I would simply ask that some bond be granted, that he not be remanded. He didn't provide a lot of information at the jail. So I guess that's all I can really say. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Collins?
Thank you, Your Honor. I also showed a flee and elude out of Montana in addition to the one in Michigan. Apparently. But I do think that shows it's a flight risk. And then we do have possession of ammo, fleeing the police again. And, in that filing, Mr. Bondi said at $200,000, I think this represents a risk to the community and an extreme flight risk. In the more recent incident date R&O file, this was more of an attempted to flee and denying his identity to the police, kind of an R&O. But I, again, think he's an extreme flight risk, so I'd ask for bond in the amount of $25,000 in that file. I'd also ask for random drug testing in the possession file. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hartel, we have the jail if you want to get on. I can put you in a breakout room.
I do, thank you.
All right, the court finds that based on the defendant's prior history with a couple flee from police and an attempted resist and obstruct, and then the allegations in these files of resist and obstruct and fleeing, I find that the defendant is a flight risk. The praxis scores him at a risk level 8, so high risk. In case number 254199. Person at the jail, what is your name?
My name is Rajala Hall.
Ms. Hall, do you have a mailing address?
Yes,
What is that?
it's at 609 Lake Street in Cadillac.
Do you have a telephone number?
Yes, it's 231-444. I had it wrong last time. I'm sorry about that, but it's 231-444-6317.
6317?
Yes.
Do you have an email address?
I have a few of them. I don't recall. I don't recall any of them.
Did you have the opportunity to meet with somebody from the defender's office today?
Yes, I have.
I have a complaint that alleges that on or about March 25th, 2025 in Herion Township of Wexford County, it is alleged that you committed the offense of larceny $200 or more but less than $1,000 regarding steel metal building materials that belong to Douglas Gingrich. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and or a fine of $2,000 or 3 times the value of the property taken. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
I understand, yes.
Did you read and sign an advice of rights form at the jail, talk about your rights to an attorney and your rights to a trial?
I haven't signed no paper. No.
All right, so let me go through those rights with you. I know we've gone through them before, but I have to do it again. If you require accommodations to use the court because of disabilities, or if you require a foreign language interpreter to help you fully participate in court proceedings, please contact the court immediately to make those arrangements. You've been brought to court on a misdemeanor charge. You have the following basic rights: to plead guilty or not guilty, or to stand mute. If you stand mute, a plea of not guilty will be entered. You may plead no contest with the permission of the court, to have a trial by jury, and to have the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to an attorney appointed at public expense if you are indigent, which means without money to hire an attorney. And if the offense charge requires a minimum jail sentence, or the court determines that it might sentence you to jail, the appointing authority will decide if you are indigent and appoint counsel if you are eligible. You may have to repay a portion of the expense of the appointed attorney. You can contest your ability to pay the ordered fees if the court attempts to collect any costs for an attorney, and the court must determine your ability to pay at that time. If you have a trial, you have the following rights: to call witnesses to speak for you at trial. You may get an order signed by the court to require witnesses to come to court, to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you at trial. To be a witness for yourself or remain silent. If you choose not to be a witness on your own behalf, the prosecuting official may not comment on your refusal to testify. To be presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you plead guilty or no contest and your plea is accepted, you will not have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up those trial rights that we just went through. You also have the right to be released on bond, and we'll get to that in a moment. If you are now on probation or parole and you enter a plea of guilty or no contest, or a finding of guilt is made by a judge or jury, it may result in a violation of your probation or parole. You can be sentenced to jail, fines, plus costs. The court will tell you on the record the name of the offense, the mandatory minimum jail sentence, if any, and the maximum possible penalty for the offense, including jail, fines, or both. Fines, costs, and other financial obligations imposed by the court must be paid at the time of the assessment, except when the court allows otherwise for good cause shown. If you are not able to pay due to financial hardship, contact the court immediately to request a payment alternative. An appeal to the circuit court may be taken within 21 days from the date of sentence, or is permitted pursuant to court rule. If the sentence includes incarceration, and if you wish to file an appeal but are financially unable to retain a lawyer, the court will appoint a lawyer to represent you on appeal if the request for a lawyer is made within 14 days after sentencing. Federal law and or state law may prohibit you from purchasing or possessing ammunition or a firearm, including a rifle, pistol, or revolver. If you are convicted of a misdemeanor crime of violence and you are a current or former spouse, parent, or guardian of the victim, you share a child in common with the victim, you are or were cohabitating with the victim as a spouse, parent, or guardian, or you are or were involved with the victim in another similar relationship. Do you understand those rights as I've read them to you?
Yes, I do.
You do have the right to be represented by an attorney at all phases throughout this process, and if you could not afford one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney?
I'd request one, please.
We'll make referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney. We'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and we'll set the matter for a pretrial. That's where your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there's a way to resolve the case short of going to trial. You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing at future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Ms. Hall, I know you're currently in jail on a sentence right now, but we'll go through the bond consideration anyways. Counsel, historically, I show in 1999 a retail fraud third, 03 a domestic violence, 03 an attempted receive and concealing less than 200, 03 operating while visibly impaired, 06 attempted larceny from a motor vehicle, 06 resist and obstruct and an operating while intoxicated, 07 an assault and battery, and 21 a larceny 200 to 1,000. Another larceny 200 to 1,000, and 21 larceny less than 200, and 22 a malicious destruction of property 200 to 1,000, and attempted B&E of a building with intent, and 21 larceny 200 to 1,000, 22 UDAA, 22 possession of a weapon in jail, 24 driving while license suspended, 24 trespass, 24 driving a license suspended and operating an unregistered vehicle. In 25, a driving a license suspended and larceny less than 200. In 10, there was a larceny less than 2,000 from out of state. In 2000, there was a driving a license suspended, 02 MIP of alcohol, 02 MIP of alcohol, 02 obstructing police, 05 larceny less than 200, 05 possession of marijuana, 07 interfering with electronic communications, 08 retail fraud second, in 14 a jostling, 11 a larceny less than 200, in 1999 a retail fraud third, and another MIP of alcohol in 2000. She has a failed to appear from February of this year out of the 54A. By my counts, that's 15 prior larceny type convictions. I will note that this event is alleged to have happened before her latest two convictions. Ms. O'Mara, any comment regarding bond?
Yeah, so I'd ask for a lower bond that might be practical for Ms. Hall, given her financial situation today, in the unlikely event this case drags out past her date of incarceration.
Thank you, Mr. Carnes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Given the repetitive nature of theft-related offenses, I think a cash bond is appropriate here. I'd ask for $1,000 cash bond and a no contact order with the victim.
Ms. Hall, I am going to set a monetary bond in case you do end up sitting longer than your sentence. I do find that you are a threat to the community based on the numerous larceny type convictions in your past. Bond will be set at $10,000 cash surety with the following conditions: that you appear as ordered, keep your contact information current, not leave the state without permission, and to commit no new crimes. I'm also going to order that you not have any contact with Douglas Gingrich. Thank you, jail. Next arraignment. Person at the jail, what is your name?
Brooke Renee Halliday.
This is the people of the state of Michigan versus Brooke Renee Halliday, case number 254189SM. Ms. Halliday, what is a good mailing address for you?
842 Farrar Street, Farrar, apartment 1, that's in Cadillac.
And do you have a telephone number?
231-390-4580.
Do you have an email address?
Yes, I'm going to say it and then spell it. It's BHALLA02@baker.edu. So BAKER.edu.
Did you have the opportunity to meet with somebody from the defender's office today?
Yes, I did.
I have a complaint that alleges that on or about July 31st, 2025 in Herring Township of Wexford County, it is alleged that you committed the offense of retail fraud second degree while at Wesco. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and or a fine of $2,000 or 3 times the value of the property taken. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
I understand.
Did you read and sign an advice of rights form at the jail regarding this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes, I did.
You do have the right to be represented by an attorney at all phases throughout this process, and if you could not afford one, one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney?
I would like to request the appointment of an attorney, please.
All right, the court will make referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney, enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and will set the matter for a pretrial. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court in which your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there's a way to resolve the case short of going to trial. You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing at future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Ms. Halliday, if I recall correctly, you're sitting on a bond and not a sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Historically, counsel, I show an 08 driving license suspended and 10 a retail fraud third, 13 retail fraud second. 13 driving the license suspended, 15 retail fraud second, 14 retail fraud second, 14 retail fraud second, 14 failed to pay child support, 15 retail fraud second, 18 retail fraud second, 18 I can't even say it, retail fraud first, 21 possession of meth, 23 possession of meth second. In 03, there was a plate violation, 08, a retail fraud third. There was an operating without a license. In 25, a driving with a license suspended. And in 97, a retail fraud second. In 25, there is a fail to appear out of the 86th District Court. By my count, that is 10 prior theft convictions. Any comment regarding bond, Ms. O'Mara?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Halliday, and I'm not sure if you're aware, so I don't necessarily want to rehash a bunch of stuff. Are you aware of the situation with her brother?
That he's deceased.
That he's deceased?
Yes.
She's
handling the
pick up
estate.
his ashes in Missouri. So she really does want to deal with that. For this case, I was asking for a personal recognizance bond. She's attempting to post bond in her other case. And I don't know if it's possible, but I'd like to see if we could address bond just for the need that she has to go to Missouri to pick up her brother's ashes. I'm not sure if that's good.
It's not possible today.
It's not possible. Okay.
What is bond in the other form?
She pled on her one and she was bound over on the other.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She was bound over in circuit court, so circuit court would have to handle that one anyways.
Thank you.
What was bond in the other file? Do we know?
10
I think it was, I was
or
gonna say 10.
five.
Was it 5?
5.
Ms. Halliday, is your bond in the other file 5,000 cash surety?
5,100.
5.
All right. Given the numerous prior theft convictions in the defendant's history, I do find that she is a somewhat of a threat to businesses. I also find that her fail to appear out of the 86th District Court is concerning to the court as well, so I believe a monetary bond is appropriate. Bond will be set in this case at $2,500 cash surety with the conditions as she appears ordered, keep her contact information current, not leave the state without permission, and to commit no new crime until she's not to have any contact with the Herring Township Westco. Next to Raymond Jail. Person at the jail, what is your name?
My name is Dustin Failer.
This is case number 2541988FY, the people of the state of Michigan versus Dustin Lee Failer. Mr. Failer, what is a good mailing address for you?
824 Arbutus Drive, Cadillac, 49601, Michigan.
Do you have a telephone number?
I do, 231-463-7120.
Do you have an email address?
Yeah, Failer Dustin. It's the letter 0@gmail.com.
Did you have the opportunity to meet with somebody from the defender's office?
I did, sir.
I have a complaint that alleges that on or about September 25th, 2025 in Clam Lake Township of Wexford County, it is alleged in count number 1 that you committed the offense of domestic violence upon Chelsea Aaron Smith as a third offender. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or a fine of $5,000. Additionally, the prosecution has elected to charge you as a habitual fourth offender, meaning that you have at least 3 prior either completed or attempted felonies in your past. That makes that 5-year felony a life offense. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
I do, sir.
On felony complaints, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning that you consent to, and you have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney at all phases throughout this process, and if you could not afford one, one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Do you understand that?
I do, sir.
Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney?
As of right now, I'm gonna request a appointed attorney.
All right. What is your current source of income?
So I work at two places. I work at Renew a Deck Supply out of Charlevoix, and then I do masonry for Mills Masonry.
All right. Court will make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney. Will enter not guilty plea on your behalf and will set this matter for a preliminary examination. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court within 21 days. At that hearing, the prosecution will be required to prove two things. One, probable cause that the crime had occurred, and two, probable cause that you were the person who had committed the offense. If the prosecution is not able to do that, the case would be dismissed. But if they are able to do that, you'll be ordered to stand trial in circuit court. Prior to the preliminary examination, there'll be a probable cause conference. That's where your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there's a way to resolve the case short of going to trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You also have the right to be considered for bond. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing at future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Historically, counsel, in 07, I show an operating while visibly impaired. 07, an attempted financial transaction device crime. 09, retail fraud third. 09, operating while visibly impaired and failed to stop at a personal injury accident. 09, possession of a narcotic less than 25 grams. 11, a driving while license suspended and a domestic violence. And 13, driving while license suspended. 16, allowing a suspended person to operate. 16, home invasion third. 17, a financial transaction device crime. In 22, a domestic violence second and a domestic violence. In 24, there's a possession of meth. And in 04, there's a case under 4A. Mr. Failer, are you on any type of supervision for that 24 possession of meth?
I am.
Is that probation or parole?
Probation.
All right. When are you done with probation?
I think I got 36 months, and I think I'm maybe a year into it, a little bit more, a little less than a year. I still got
so you got some time to go yet?
Yes, sir.
Do you know, have they done any type of violation on you yet?
I have not heard anything yet. No, I have not heard that.
All right. Any comment regarding bond from the defender's office?
Yes, Your Honor. When I spoke with this defendant earlier, he advised that he didn't believe there's any probation holds on him presently. We realize that may be subject to change. But I would ask the court to consider a low monetary bond in this situation. I do realize that these are serious allegations, but I believe that any concerns the court has can be overcome with bond conditions. I don't doubt he would obey a no contact order with the alleged victim. I don't have a copy of the complaint, so I don't know if drugs or alcohol were alleged to be involved, but if they were, I trust the people to mention that, and I don't doubt he would obey any testing conditions, be drugs, alcohol, whatever the case may be. He's highly motivated to get to his employment, as he did note he has 2 different seasonal jobs. He does want to make sure to continue to work until the snow comes, because we never really know when that's going to be in Michigan, but he needs to get as many weeks in as he can so he can qualify for unemployment, survive the winter, things of that nature. I would ask the court not to set the bond too high for him to be able to realistically post it, being that type of a working man. Thank you.
Mr. Carnes?
Thank you, Your Honor. The allegations here is the defendant threw a lighter at the victim, hard enough to leave a welt, that state trooper noted. The defendant was cooperative with the police and did admit he was only acting this way because he had relapsed on meth and was high, which is consistent with the troopers, what the trooper noticed about how he was acting. I would ask for random drug testing, a no contact order with the victim, and I do think a monetary bond is appropriate. I'll leave the amount on the court's discretion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As a condition of bond, defendant is to appear as ordered, keep his contact information current, not leave the state of Michigan without permission, and to commit known crimes. I'm going to order that there not be any alcohol consumption in random testings. I'm also going to order that there be no controlled substances, including recreational marijuana, and he'll be subject to random testing for those. I'm ordering those based on essentially defendant's admission that he had relapsed. While he may have relapsed on a controlled substance, I also don't want him turning to alcohol as a substitution for that. There will be a no contact with Chelsea Aaron Smith. Mr. Failer, you are not to purchase or possess any firearms or weapons. You are not to act in any threatening, intimidating, and harassing behavior. I will note that I am familiar with Mr. Dustin. I represented him in the past. I've prosecuted him in the past, and I've not known him not to appear, so I don't consider him a flight risk.